What's up, guys? Big Ape 93 here today to bring you my Dragon Ball Super Episode 52 review. This week's episode was entitled Reunion of Master and Student, Son Gohan and Future Trunks. This week's episode starts off with a scene where they are still trying to repair the time machine, and Bulma is starting to make sense of the technology that makes the time machine work. Bulma then asks Shu and Mai to help bring her parts of the time machine so that she can repair it. Bulma then tells them that they will need to go to Laboratory 2 to get a piece of equipment, so Kid Trunks offers to show Mai the way there. While this is going on, we see Pilaf and Dr. Briefs working on a piece for the time machine. Mai and Trunks are looking for the part, and Trunks, trying to help, keeps picking up random parts and asking if this is the right one. This, however, begins to annoy Mai, and she tells him if he doesn't know what they are looking for, not to bother her. Does anyone else find it funny that they keep building towards this tension between Kid Trunks and Trunks over Mai? It's going to be interesting to see if anything actually comes of this. Anyway, back to Laboratory 2. Trunks then notices a saw in the corner, and while Mai is looking for the parts, he adds a cord to it and wraps it around and displays it like a sword on his back. I guess he's trying to look more like his future self for Mai in order to impress her. We then get a bit with Vegeta in the gravity training room, and he is reflecting on Trunks telling him how in the future Black killed Bulma just before he left. And as Vegeta does, he gets a very nice training montage, and he also mentions that he will not forgive Black. Meanwhile, on the outside of Capsule Corp, Goku notes on how Vegeta is angry. Then Beerus, along with Goku, complain about when dinner is. While this is going on, Whis is analyzing the fight between Black and Goku, trying to figure out where they've sensed Black's ki before, as they mentioned in the previous episode. We then jump back to Trunks, who is sleeping and has more PTSD nightmares about Black attacking and killing Mai. He then wakes up and goes to check on the time machine, where we learn that the fuel was actually a component that Bulma had been working on in an earlier episode. If you guys remember in the episode a few weeks ago where Monaka was helping out Bulma after he had stopped by to drop off a delivery, and she had him help and then hold the cup below this machine and this blue goo substance came out? Well, yeah, that's the same fuel that runs the time machine. Bulma then tells Trunks, based on the size of the fuel tank for the time machine, that it'll take them at least one day to get the allotted fuel for the trip. This surprises Trunks, as he explains that in his world it took them almost a year just to get enough for a one-way trip. Trunks then goes outside and meets with Piccolo and Krillin. They then talk about Gohan. And before we get any further into this, if you're a Gohan fan, I am so sorry for what you're going to hear next. And in the worst blow we've seen to Gohan in quite a while, Piccolo tells Trunks that if he was planning on taking Gohan to the future with him, don't. Piccolo goes on to tell Trunks how Gohan is no longer a fighter, and basically summarizes that he wouldn't be very useful to them in the fight with Black, more or less. Trunks then begins to tell Piccolo and Gohan how in his time Gohan was his master and teacher. He tells them that it was because of Gohan in his time that he was able to survive till the last fight with the androids. We then get a reanimated scene from the history of Trunks where Gohan goes off to fight the androids and he gets killed, and then we see Trunks transforming into a Super Saiyan again for the first time. Trunks then goes on to explain how he didn't get to thank Gohan last time he was there, and that's what he wanted to do. Krillin tells him if that's all he's worried about, then to go see him, and Piccolo mentions that he thinks Gohan is at a conference today. And while Trunks is flying to get to where Gohan is, he has more PTSD visions of areas ruined by Black in his time. Trunks then waits outside for Gohan, who walks by and glances at him, and then he turns around to do a quick double check, and he notices Trunks immediately. It's here that Trunks notes that he can no longer feel that brimming power coming from him, which would be the power of SS2 that was insanely powerful back then. After this, they go to get some ice cream, as one does in Dragon Ball, and Trunks is just thinking to himself how astounded he is at the difference between this Gohan and the one he knew. It's after this that Gohan offers him to come by his house and meet his family. At Gohan's house, Gohan explains to Videl that this is the Trunks from the future and he came back in a time machine that Bulma had built. Gohan then introduces Videl to Trunks and also Hercule, as Trunks vaguely remembers him from Cell. This prompts Hercule to ask him if he's famous in his future world too. Trunks is also introduced to Pan at this point. We get a bit with Pan squirting her bottle of milk at everybody, and this prompts Gohan to turn into the Great Saiyaman. Then he flies up to get her in a fun little filler bit. Trunks is probably thinking at this point, this is the guy I wanted to bring back with me? Videl invites Trunks to stay for dinner with them. We get a bit with Hercule, Trunks, and Pan watching Hercule's home movies about how he has saved the world so many times. It's here that Trunks notes why is he here when the future is in serious danger. After this, Videl comes to get Hercule for something, and it results in Trunks watching Pan, and she displays incredible strength and begins playfully beating up Trunks. Gohan comes in just in time to see Trunks trying to keep Pan from getting his sword. Gohan and Trunks go outside with Pan, and Gohan is telling Trunks about how he wishes he could be more strict with Pan, but every time that he sees her face, it's impossible for him. Gohan picks up Pan and begins playing around with her, and Trunks notes that he wasn't even aware that Gohan could make such a happy expression. I'm guessing he was referring to his future counterpart here, that just being because he was under constant stress from the attacks by the androids, and they always had to be on guard in his future time. Videl then calls them in for dinner. Before they go inside for dinner, Trunks reflects on what life would be like in his world if Black hadn't sewn up. It's times like these that I really feel for him and everything that he goes through. We get a bit after they've ate dinner, and Trunks then thanks them for dinner, and after he leaves, Videl asks Gohan why did he come back this time, and Gohan says, well, he forgot to ask him. I'm almost willing to bet that not if, but when Gohan finds out what's going on with Trunks' future world, he will definitely get involved in the battle. Trunks and his newfound joy flies back to Capsule Corp, and they are all surprised to see that he has changed out of his future clothes and into the clothes that Bulma had left out for him. Trunks then asks where Goku and the others being Beerus and Whis, where they went off to. They explain to him that they went off to Universe 10, where there's someone with the same exact key as Black. For the ending bit of this episode, we get Whis, Goku, and Beerus traveling to Universe 10, where Goku almost falls off of them while getting excited for the potential fight. He quickly jumps and latches back onto Beerus, and this makes him angry, and he says, this is why I didn't want to bring you along in the first place. We then flash to the Kai planet of Universe 10, where we see Zamasu pushing a cart of tea to end the episode. As for the preview for the next episode, it looks to be on the Universal 10 Kai planet for the most part of the preview. We see Whis and Beerus analyzing what looks to be like time rings with an older Kai, and as Goku does, it looks like he's going to be fighting Zamasu in the next episode, and that's all we got for the preview this week. Overall, I enjoyed the episode for what it was. It amounts to be a little bit of filler, but it also has a good backstory to it. The only thing I would have done really different was have Trunks tell Gohan about his future self rather than Krillin and Piccolo, so they could kind of compare and see, and Gohan could hear about how his future self was different. Keep in mind, guys, that there will not be a new Super episode next week, and it will be back the following week. But that's all I have for you guys this week. As always, thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw here today, drop me a like, and if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe. And if you want to keep up with everything else I'm doing geek-related, you can follow me on Twitter or like my Facebook page. As always, you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.